watching Business Spotlight. I'm Gary Alfonso. Franchising has offered pathway to success for both local and international brands, providing access to established systems, brand recognition and marketing expertise. Cash Converters has effectively leveraged this model to expand its presence in South Africa and globally. Joining me in studio or online to give us more insights into the organization's strategic growth is Richard Mukheibir, Cash Converters CEO. Richard, thanks very much for joining us.
Good day, Gary, and good day to all the viewers.
How has Cash Converters evolved as a brand, especially in terms of customer trust and loyalty over its 40 years of operation?
So, as with any business model, we have adapted over the years. If you look at the South African growth, we started in South Africa in 1994, the first during the when we became a democratic country, and we've grown it from one store that I opened in Parow in October or November of that year to touching 100 stores today. And I think the short answer to your question is that we're very customer focused, and we do everything in our power to satisfy our customers' need and requirement for cash. So our business is effectively about access to cash, and what we try to do is provide access to cash to anyone, anywhere, and any time. And if we focus on that goal, then yes, we have built a sustainable, long-term, profitable business in South Africa over the last 30 years. And as you well know, internationally, Cash Converters is housed in Australia and just shy of 45 years old around the world.
Franchising has been a strong business model for Cash Converters. What is franchising and what does a franchise opportunity provide?
So franchising at its simplest form is really just a business model to distribute goods or services. Sometimes it's easy for me to understand as a recipe. Let's call it a recipe. You get the ingredients to bake the particular cake, let's say your grandmother's favorite chocolate cake, and then there's a method in how to go about putting those ingredients together. And that's really what franchising is about. It's a proven business model, so think of that recipe, along with a recognized brand. And the franchisor is responsible for creating those two parts. The franchisee then comes and uses that proven business model to run their own business, but not by themselves. So they've got the recipe, they've got the brand, and combining those two components reduces risk of failure and increases risk of profitability and sustainability over the long term. So that's the nub of it. It's taking the intellectual property of the franchisor and the franchise brand and utilizing that to build one's own business as a franchisee.
What was the driving force behind the decision to move into franchising, and how did this model evolve in different regions?
So franchising is an accepted business model around the world. In fact, the GDP of America, almost just north of a quarter of the GDP of America is generated through the franchising business model because of the power of this. Here in South Africa, I think the last time the research done was by the Franchise Association. I think it's just touching 13% of GDP. So it is a very powerful business model, and the symbiosis of bringing that IP and the brand together with a franchisee that may not necessarily have the business skills either to run a business or that particular business model is incredibly powerful. So when we decided to do this way back in '92, we looked at a range of different business models. And in fact, from our perspective as well, it made a lot of sense to go internationally to bring that IP into South Africa because we knew nothing about second-hand dealing or micro-lending or pawnbroking as it is. My background is IT, in fact. And so at a high level, the international licensor provided us with that IP in South Africa. I then ran the first store for a couple of years, built up my IP and understanding of the business model through interaction with the international organization, and from there developed it into a franchise where I could then explain and deliver that IP into our franchise network.
Obviously, it's all about the team. What key qualities do you look for in potential franchisees, and how do they ensure, or you ensure, they align with Cash Converters' values and vision?
Yes, it is. You've hit the nail on the head there, Gary. It's all about the people. And in fact, it starts exactly at the values. We have a very concise set of values that we think are important in our business, and our culture is based on that. So when I'm interviewing for potential franchisees, I'm looking for those values of, as an example, passion, professionalism, integrity is really important to us, respect for oneself and one's fellow human beings, and another franchising, again, going back to that collaborative focus. Because the reality is that any franchisor worth his salt understands that the success of his business and brand is based on the success of the franchisee's business. And so we do everything we can in our power to ensure our franchisees are successful by ensuring that they understand our model, they execute the model, and as a consequence, become profitable.
How do you provide ongoing support to franchisees to ensure their success? Because obviously they would want it, especially in terms of training and operational guidance.
Yes, it's morphed significantly over 30 years. The person that provided our franchisees with support in the first couple of years was effectively me. I did everything from opening stores all the way through to supporting them. Today we sit with an operation of in excess of 120 people here at head office, looking after the plus minus 100 stores we have in Southern Africa. And it goes to ensuring that every component of the business is in fact looked after. Our franchisees are responsible for looking after their customers at the front end. But as an example, from a training point of view, we have a e-learning training platform. We have 6 people dedicated in our training department that creates content for us to deliver to over 1,500 staff members literally on a daily basis. And that technology now is significantly different to what it was previously. Previously, we used to create manuals and print them and distribute them that way. Now all the content is distributed electronically and immediately. And in fact, our staff, you can find them doing their training on their cell phones, going home in a taxi in the evening. And that's how sophisticated that has become. And then, of course, as we develop the business model over and over and bring new products and services to the market, we're needing to reconfirm all of that training. So it's the training department, it's an operations support department. We also provide a full finance and admin and compliance department to our franchisees so that they understand what is required, what are the rules of the game in terms of the laws, and that they execute it accordingly. So it's a very sophisticated and total turnkey operation that we do supply to our network in order that they focus fundamentally on being on the floor, servicing their customers' needs.
Sounds like some good stuff happening over there at Cash Converters. Richard, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Gary. Cheers now.
That was the CEO of Cash Converters, Richard Mukheibir. Until next time, goodbye.